I'm sorry, it's not. Everything doesn't look perfect here. Please let me know if I'm live. Let me know if you can hear me, if everything sounds okay and looks okay. I am kind of late here, trying to catch up with my own live stream that I'm here attempting to make. Please let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me well, if everything is all right. Wonderful, great. I see people are saying good sound, all good, live, yes, all good, wonderful, great, amazing. Let me check if I have the right microphone on. I sometimes use the wrong microphone and then the sound doesn't sound just as good. It is the right one, okay. Good. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everyone is doing fantastic. Let me focus this on myself. TikTok. This is not David Wood. Go watch David Wood if you want to hear TikTok Time to Rock. Just kidding. Yeah. Hope everyone is having a great time. I've had a good morning. Had a good rest. Felt very tired yesterday after having a 4.5 hour session of very, very strange attitudes. Man. I don't know how many of you people, you people sounds very rude. I don't know how many of you were there and how many have actually seen the discussion. But it was a disaster in a single word, if we can say that. The issue is there are so many problems here now. Overnight, since that whole conversation happened with Daniel Haqiqatjou, which happened yesterday. Since that happened, I have been bombarded with messages and comments by these Muslims, and it's so ridiculous. It is kind of the same pattern that you experience with people like Mohammed Hijab, for example. When David Wood had an actual debate with Mohammed Hijab, and Mohammed Hijab just basically just the entire time insulted him, and then afterwards the Muslim Chol army came and just declared victory and insulted him, made accusations and all that stuff. The same thing happened here. And the funny thing is, my conversation with Daniel Haqiqatjou was not even supposed to be a debate. It's not a debate. It was very clear, and this is the thing. People with beards, who are imams, who are muftis, who are 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, made tweets saying, "Oh, the murtad, the apostate, has been conquered by our good Muslim brother," and stuff like that. It is really disgusting what comes from there. I guess I'm kind of a little bit naive. I would say maybe I'm a little bit stupid in expecting to have a fruitful, useful exchange, a conversation with a known Muslim apologist who also thinks that people like me should be sentenced to death simply for existing, simply for being the way, simply for leaving Islam, and thinking that a Muslim audience of this Muslim apologist would maybe take this conversation in a positive way, that this could be maybe in a way productive and useful and good. Otherwise, why would I want to sit down with someone who really openly and clearly says that I should be killed simply for no longer believing in his petty religion, which we can comment enough about what a stupid religion it is, which is why it resorts to so much hostility and aggression and dishonesty. You have to see the comment section of that discussion. It is filled with Muslims who pretend to be. This is so amazing. Muslims always claim to be like the honest ones who are not allowed to lie, who are not allowed to trick people, who have good morals, and then the comment section is filled with people who are. Who pretend to be non-Muslims, who pretend to be my supporters, and say, well, I am an atheist, or I support AP normally, but honestly, Daniel Haqiqatjou was amazing here. And then you look on the profile and you see the history of how he posts regular Muslim talking points in the past. So it really is disgusting, all the stuff that came there. But I really want to go into what a disappointment Daniel Haqiqatjou was, because the issue is, those who know me and those who know my past with Muslim apologists know that that I don't want to speak to Muslim apologists, and I don't even care what they say about that. I mean, they can say, "Oh, you're scared, you're this and that." I don't give a damn. I don't want to communicate with Muslim apologists because I don't think they are gatekeepers of Islam. I don't care about them. They have no authority over Islam. I don't believe that I should, entertain their ideas and their hostilities. I agreed to have a conversation with Daniel Haqiqatjou because our agreement was very clear. It was that we would have a conversation that consists of simply me asking brief questions and him giving very brief answers. And I explicitly said to him, look, this is not supposed to be an exchange of ideas. This is not supposed to be a debate, not a discussion. I don't want to discuss with you. I only want you to give quick answers. I want to dig into your thoughts, want to proceed. And I told him so many times, even before the chat began, I said, hey, look, again, I want to keep this about under 2 hours or so. Under 2 hours. And I gave him a list of things that we need to talk to. I said, we obviously won't have enough time to even talk about these things in under 2 hours, but I would just like to ask you very brief questions, and I would like you to give very brief answers to these so we can proceed. And he was like, yeah, okay, but I need to explain some positions. And I said, yeah, of course, if it's necessary, then you can do that. But just know very brief answers and very brief questions so we can quickly move on. And what happens? The moment he started talking, he started making 5-minute, 10-minute summaries of definitions of concepts, and going into lengthy explanations of what slavery was 2,000 years ago, what it was 1,000 years ago, what it was 500 years ago, and I was like, what is happening? I tried to warn him several times. I said, hey, look, we need to move on. But it didn't work. We had to, like, the first topic that I wanted to talk about, we came to that after 2 hours of talking because we just couldn't get through his explanations, which were extremely unnecessary. In fact, I don't know if you have seen that part, but I asked him what he thinks about slavery. I said, do you approve of slavery? And then he talked for 6-7 minutes about what slavery was in the past, and I was like, well, thank you, but that was totally unnecessary, because I just wanted to ask you how you can justify slavery with this and this concept. So I really want to post some excerpts about that, actually, within the following days. I also want to post excerpts regarding his hypocrisy of why he why he lives in America, despite the fact that he so much aspires to live under an Islamic state. Evidently, he cannot make the first step and move to an Islamic state and prove to his audience that he's actually truthful and consistent in his ideology and his wishes, because he likes to enjoy a free life in the free and liberal Western country called the United States of America, which he apparently despises so much to its fundamentals. It is so funny. I will definitely take this opportunity and use several excerpts of that conversation and post them over the next few days, because I really wanted to be friendly and peaceful and okay, but sadly the Muslim apologist, which is probably which I can maybe owe to my own naivety, didn't respect a single condition that he agreed to. In fact, and let me show you this. We agreed before we had this conversation that we should that this conversation would only take place on my channel first, and then he could take the footage and use it on his channel too later. And guess what he did? He came in right into the conversation saying, "Oh, I'm streaming this on my channel too, by the way." And I was like, "But we agreed that that's not the case. That it will be only on my channel now, and later you can use it on your channel." And he was like, "Yeah, but whatever, He tried to talk his way out of that, and he pretended that he doesn't know what I was talking about. But let me show you this to simply show very clearly the dishonesty of Daniel Haqiqatjou. I have this right here, actually, and so there is no denying to it. Here's the screenshot from our Twitter conversation. I hope you can see this. But it says, so we're having a conversation here, and he says, okay, I misunderstood chat. We can use Zoom to stream our chat to our respective channels. I will start advertising the date and time. I'm not really into chess beating or theatrics, but repartee is fair game, I think. And I said, look here, explicitly, sure, let's stream it only to my channel during the conversation. You can reuse it afterwards. I want this to be more of an investigation and analysis of your position rather than a discussion. There are two things here very clearly in this message that you can see, so that there is no denying to it. Number one, I clearly told him, let's only stream to my channel now, and you can afterwards use it for yourself. I also said, this is not a discussion. This is very clear. It's not a discussion. It's an investigation of your positions from me. And you all know what happened next. He streamed it on his channel directly and pretended we never talked about this, although you have all seen it. It is right here, and he streamed it directly to his channel. And also he completely ignored that this is not meant to be a discussion, and he went to interrupt me whenever I said something, to bring lengthy research papers and all that stuff, which is very funny. I want to go into that. I did post several links into the description of the original conversation, which are links. I posted links to several research papers, to several researchers from the APA. Just give me a second. Ouch. Give me a second. So I posted several... sorry. I posted several links to researchers on the in the description of the actual conversation, which are where you can see research papers. Sorry, I don't feel very well. I have an anxiety issue, which is why I don't want to have these conversations with these people, because afterwards it just turns into a whole shit show where they start to get personal, don't abide by their conditions, and I cannot have these interactions with these people where they completely refuse to be honest and refuse to have civil conversations. I mean, seriously, we came out of a conversation where I calmly listened to him explain how I deserve to be killed because I left my belief, because I don't believe in Islam. He's calmly sat there and said, "Oh yeah, I think you should be killed. I think you should be executed, of course." You know, that's basically what he said. And I was sitting there and I was like, okay, let's move on. You know, that is what I'm doing. And here I am accused of being irrational by these people, while they're defending the idea that people like me, or that people who simply have opinions, who simply change their beliefs, should be killed. That's the entire summary of this entire exchange. And what is happening afterward is that even before and after this conversation, I'm being called an apostate by him. I'm being called a murtad, which is the Islamic term used for apostates, which implies that you have turned away from your intended nature, which requires that you are to be sentenced to death. So he posted these things, and I saw that and I ignored it. He posted that on his Facebook page. Like, he didn't post it on his Twitter, where he can directly at me, because on Twitter I can directly see what he posts. But he posted it on his Facebook page, where he said, "Oh, I will have a discussion with the Murtad Ridwan, and it will be very I believe it will be a very lively conversation." That's what he said. So the whole implication of this conversation is that he comes here and he propagates his absolutely delusional and insane ideas that we should be living in a world where we force everyone to live under Islam, and we force those people who don't want to live with Islam anymore to either comply by Islam's laws or to be put to death. And we make things like we say it is better for people to have stable families and to have a wife and a husband and children, and in order to enforce that, we we kill people who engage in adultery, and we lash people publicly who engage in fornication, which basically means unwedded people just having sexual intercourse, or having, not even entirely having sexual intercourse, just like holding hands and just going outside and kissing each other, and stuff like that, for example. He thinks, by his logic, for example, where he cites some fringe research paper. I wanted to bring that up. He cites a research paper which was cited 6 times. If you have studied anything about science, you would see that is ludicrous. It's ridiculous. I mean, I study the scientific method. I study psychology myself, so I am dealing with research papers all the time. And here comes Daniel Haqiqatjou and uses the average, the normal Muslim tactic, which is to drop a name, a fringe name of some doctor, some researcher who presents us some fringe research that nobody else accepts, and then tries to make the point that his own position is supported by stable evidence. This is actually a common tactic in debates, which is known as arguments from authority, or appeal to authority, in which he cites the opinion or the words of someone who seemingly who is seemingly an authority on a subject, and then goes on to support his own very absurd position. And he presents very fringe ideas, like that flogging is, for example, better than the prison system and better than rehabilitation, which is ludicrous. In fact, you can see that when you go to the original live stream and you go into the description, you see I have posted several links which prove, even from the APA, the American Psychological Association, which is the biggest, largest authority on psychology out there, which clearly proves that harsh punishments don't correct behavior, they make behavior worse. Harsh punishments against children create antisocial behavior when they grow up. Harsh punishments against children, again, make children angry and make them make them violent toward other people, and don't get rid of their undesirable actions. Rehabilitation is better than punishing people, even when it's for harsh crimes. These are very clear positions that are completely supported by thousands of pieces of evidence. Yet there he comes and cites like 1 or 2 names that no one knows, that no one accepts, and acts like he has actually made a point. And this is a fallacy. This is called appeal to authority. Fortunately, science doesn't work that way. Science works by taking actual research that people that many scientists have come together and tested on thousands or hundreds of subjects, that dozens and hundreds of other scientists have come together and peer reviewed. So that is how science actually works. Of course, a representative of the Muslim faith wouldn't really understand how science works and how science is validated, because he wouldn't be a Muslim then. To be very brief and very clear. So I did post several studies in the description of that conversation. But as said, there was no honesty. There were so many lies going on here. It was a deception from the beginning to the end. I'm receiving insults all day now, which they somehow think makes their point. And I just want to keep those insults up, which is funny, because people are telling me that I'm apparently deleting comments or blocking people, which is not happening. Go there and you can see all those negative comments that have all been voted down by people. And they say very stupid and very horrible things. You can see the kind of language that they resort to. And if you have any doubts that the Muslim position is a very weak one, a very disrespectful one, a very inhuman and barbaric and hostile one, you can just go there and read through those comments of the Muslims. And you can go on to Daniel Haqiqatjou's post and see how he acts after the conversation, and can reaffirm your faith in the fact that these people simply don't have any are so insecure in their faiths and their convictions and their beliefs that they have to resort to the most despicable actions and sentiments that you can see in a society. But of course, I will do what they kind of ask me to do, which is I will, of course, take this whole conversation. I will take excerpts of this. I will post brief excerpts of this to show how Daniel Haqiqatjou defended himself, what he made of this conversation, and everyone can then see and understand how that went. I think his viewers and everybody else will enjoy very much to see how he defends living in America while desiring an Islamic State, or how he cannot answer a single question, which is, for example, I asked him the question. I don't know how many people of you were there, but I think there was a big highlight of that conversation, and I will definitely use it as a highlight. I asked him a very simple question. I said, "Hey, imagine two societies. One society has slavery, where some people are subject some people's entire freedoms are subject to the discretion of other people. They have to work for them, live by them. They cannot do anything with their lives. They cannot go anywhere. They are not equal in front of the law, and they have to be punished. They can do nothing except just work their lives off to please their masters, and they give birth to slaves." Then take another society, like a Western society, in which people work very hard in a capitalist system, work very hard for different companies, but have the ability to choose a different job, to go to school and advance them and improve themselves, to move to different countries, move to different places, and buy their own homes, save their own money, make their own lives. Which society is happier? Which one is happier? Just answer this question. He refused to answer this question. He was like, I think for straight 2 or 3 minutes, he refused to answer the basic question. And I repeated it over and over again. I said, "Hey, I'm not asking anything complicated. I'm asking you a simple question. Which one is happier, this one or this one?" He refused to answer this question. I definitely will make great use of that. So you can really see the insecurity of Muslim apologists and their supporters. That is basically what I need to say. I feel great regret. I think it was kind of naive of me to expect that this conversation would have any other outcome, that we could actually sit down and have an intelligent conversation with somebody who holds the views that Daniel Haqiqatjou holds. The problem is that I don't know. I have so much faith in humanity. I have so much faith in people. I trust humans so much that I think even someone with such a horrible worldview could maybe sit down and just be a good person and have a reasonable conversation with me. Because the entire idea was clearly just to sit down and just to question the way he thinks, and he could have done the same with me. In fact, you must have seen it if you watched the conversation. I asked him at the beginning and the end of the conversation if he would like to have a debate with me, because this is not a debate, but I said maybe we could exchange our ideas very clearly in a debate. So would you like to have a debate with me? And he for some reason he kept avoiding that question, and it seemed like he doesn't want to have a debate, which is very weird, because he agrees to come here and have a conversation with me. But then he doesn't want to have a debate with me, which I don't understand. I don't like debates. I hate debates. I don't want to have debates with Muslim apologists, because I think they're being very dishonest, and I haven't seen a single Muslim apologist, except someone like Shabir Ali, for example, to be very honest and clear, who respects the basic etiquette of a debate, which is why I don't want to have debates. But since this guy seems to be ready to simply exchange ideas in a good way, I thought maybe we can have a debate, and I asked him, do you want to have a debate with me? And he just avoided that all the time. I don't know why, and I don't think he would actually agree to that, because in a debate he wouldn't have the opportunity to just present his organization and his strange ideas and his fringe researches that can be simply debunked by me, where I show him how no one cares about his fringe proof, his fringe research paper that no scientist, no academic has even looked at. And it's very clear why he doesn't want to honor a simple debate. So you can see the inconsistency and the dishonesty there. Unfortunately, I've been kind of fooled, betrayed, and tricked into a Muslim apologist coming and trying to spread his propaganda on my channel freely without me interrupting, because I agreed to just hearing his opinions and investigating them, which was my fault, to be very honest. But I have tried and I regret it now. So that's pretty much it. Of course, I would I can tell you one thing. The guy would never host me on his channel and do the same thing, where I present my opinions and where I present my ideas very freely and openly to his audience, and he just goes on and investigates what I think. He would never allow that, because his audience even went crazy when he said he would have a talk with me, because they were so worried that I would spread doubts in the minds of Muslims. That's how shallow the Islamic faith is. That people are so afraid of coming and having an honest conversation, because they are afraid that I might spread doubts in the shallow beliefs of Islam, in the minds of the Muslim community, that are indoctrinated with Islamic fear, because Islam doesn't have anything intellectual to offer to people, because it doesn't carry any weight, because its scripture is ludicrous and incoherent, which is why it resorts to hating people and executing people and flogging people and hating people and accusing everyone else of being evil and of being the enemy, while hating the entire world. That is Islam. That's a summary of Islam. So if you really want to see a summary of what Islam is, go and look at it one more time. What happened yesterday. That is I would say all I want to say. I would like to have some exchanges with everybody here. Summarize last debate. AP asked questions, but Daniel did not answer, only waffled. Basically. Seriously, basically. Mustafa Aziz said your regret is because you lost. Of course, I lost. I don't know how, but I lost. I always lose. Gedalia said, Apostate Prophet, will you come on to Al-Fadi Sirah and talk with us there about how Muslims can't have an honest talk? I would love to, sure. Gedalia, thank you, by the way, for being here and for moderating the chat as always. I really owe you a lot. But yeah, I would definitely love to have a conversation about that. Just let me know. Ray, a Christian Husky, said, Apostate Prophet, how are you? I'm very good. I'm doing very well. Just I don't know. I'm just tired from yesterday. I feel emotionally drained because I'm confronted with these ludicrous, terrible ideas and supposed to be just calm and accept that he is actually the reasonable one for calmly suggesting that I should be killed. And just imagine how that makes you feel. Imagine you're having a conversation with somebody who thinks that you should be killed, and he asserts that you are being unreasonable. Imagine that. I mean, that is a summary of that. Imagine you're sitting in front of a person who openly says, "Hey, I think you should be killed for your opinions," and then he says, I think you're being very unreasonable. Why are you acting like this? So that's the summary of what's going on here. man. Alexander Dahl made a super chat and said, La ilaha illa Peygamber Ridwan. Thank you so much. Let's go on with the mockery. Princess Mona said, "You're a hero, AP. Hope you get some rest." Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I don't think I'm a hero. I just think I owe the world something here. I don't know how long I can actually stick to that conviction. Kimo El Mastri said, "Hey, Apostate Prophet, honestly, you were as patient as a saint. You got my respect." I have to be very honest here. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, but I have to be very honest here. I mean, the thing is, after the discussion, I thought I was kind of introspecting. I was kind of trying to review how it went, and I thought, hey, I have anxiety. I always say I wouldn't be able to have a conversation with these people because I don't know how I could confine myself, how I could just sit there and not be outraged about the things that these people are saying, because we are avoiding all kinds of logical justifications from a theological perspective, and coming to petty, ridiculous claims on how Islamic punishments make sense, and then arguing that people should be killed for very basic freedoms that we have, for very basic freedoms that we know are not a danger to anybody out there in the world. And I didn't think I could be able to actually calmly sit down and have such a conversation. So after this conversation happened yesterday, I actually felt quite good. I thought, hey, it actually did go well. We sat there for 4.5 hours. In the end, I realized how weak I had become, because I was extremely tired. I needed to drink and to eat something, but I thought, hey, it went well. We didn't fight. We didn't yell at each other. There were no insults. There was nothing terrible going on. We didn't shut it off and, said bye bye halfway through. So it was actually okay. But the thing is, people who support me, as much as I trust your judgment, the people who support me will always say that I did better, whereas people who support him evidently will always say that he did better. So I cannot really know how it actually went. I would love to look at it from an objective point of view, and I would like to see how fair I was, and if I was fair in treating him and his opponents, his followers, and here I am again talking about how whether I treated him fair or not, while they're talking about killing me. Anyway, just a thought that I had. But thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, this is what we are. I'm thinking about his freedom and his right to express his opinions, and whether he is being treated fairly or not, while he's thinking about how I should be executed. I want to go through the super chats very quickly. I never want to let the super chats slip like this. Infidel Heretic made a super chat and said, "Thanks for all you do. Greetings from the United States." Thank you so much, Infidel Heretic. I appreciate it very much. And greetings to the United States, where I am as well, by the way. So greetings to my own place, my own country. Jesse Taylor made a super chat and said, "You're a legend, brother. Big love." Thank you so much, Jesse. I appreciate it. Thank you. Hindu Historian said, "How many citations makes a publication noteworthy?" I guess it depends on the publication. It depends on what the publication, I wouldn't say what the publication says. It depends on where it is cited, how it is cited, if it is peer reviewed in a good way. I believe there are some numbers for standards, but I'm not entirely aware of this. If there is someone who is a master of numbers, can let me know in the chat. But 5 citations, no reviews, fringe research paper, and the only research paper that actually argues for a position definitely makes it extremely unreliable. And at least one of those, actually 2 of those researches that he gave me, one was that flogging is a good punishment because some PhD argued that it is, and that that one is for example just a book that has like I don't know, like a few dozen reviews, and is highly disputed by the scientific peers. Whereas he cited another paper which was about which was an assertion that the disgust feeling that people have naturally for homosexuality is natural in humans. And the thing is, I really don't care whether homosexuality is natural or not. I really don't care whether you like it or not. I'm completely beyond that. My problem is that he cited a research paper on that, which had like 5 or 6 citations, and which was which didn't have any credibility at all. It was highly disputed, and didn't have any support from scientists. I would like to, in fact, summarize that in a video, just to expose how Muslims argue and how they appeal to authority in a completely dishonest and false way. But yeah, that was what was going on, to answer your question, Hindu Historian. Thank you. P became a member of the channel. P, thank you. Welcome to the channel, P. I was almost going to say hoş geldin, which is welcome in Turkish. I don't know why I'm switching to Turkish right now. I never speak Turkish. I speak Turkish when I'm angry. Maybe that's the issue. I cuss in Turkish, or I yell in Turkish sometimes. 12 BKL and my shoe said Muslims cite papers as if they are Sahih Hadith. Exactly. Make sure to always ask if the research paper they are citing is Sahih. You did a great job. Thank you. That's a fantastic point. This is actually something that is commonly done by Muslim apologists. And what you find also when you go on Islamic websites, for example, that argue for certain things, you will see that they cite certain scientists or research papers. And they will cite one scientist and treat it like everybody knows this scientist. He's a worldwide renowned scientist. And it's just some random guy who is only recognized by Muslims because he says something that serves the Muslim agenda, or or a science or a research paper that says something that serves the Muslim agenda, but which is completely which is not recognized at all by any community, and they just cite that and treat it like the Islamic scripture, like the Sahih Hadith, claiming that this research paper completely proves them true because one research paper said something that they argue. I would say I aspire to be to have a degree in a science field too, in a near future, if I can achieve that. If I am at that level, I can publish a research paper, and it can be about complete nonsense, but it can be a research paper, and it can be cited by several people who agree with that research paper. That doesn't make the research paper credible. It just means someone published a research paper. That's all it is. In fact, there was an academic who worked with Jordan Peterson, who made this whole trolling campaign where he published papers and got those papers to be accepted by very credible sources. And it turned out that all those papers were just a project. It was an entire project. All those papers were a hoax. Their contents were entirely untrue, and the entire point this guy was making was to prove how easy it is to put out research papers and make people accept them, even if they tell you complete nonsense. So you cannot trust one name or two names. That's not how science works. Gladly, scientists know that. Muslims don't. Ribs Exposed made a super chat and said, you should check out David Berlinski. I don't know who David Berlinski is, but I will have a look. Thank you. I appreciate that. Ribs Exposed. Anita V said there is a study that shows religious Pakistani Muslim students rated high on narcissistic personality disorder. Could be. I haven't personally looked into that. I don't know what the research is about, how it is, but could be. I don't know. Certain demographics are high in certain mental conditions. I wouldn't necessarily use a mental condition to discredit anybody, but as said, I did cite a research, a very credible research, which proves that physical abuse leads to mental disorders and to antisocial behavior, which Daniel Haqiqatjou didn't want to accept during our debate. Although this is, I study psychology, and that is the most basic thing, one of the most basic things that you learn when you start studying psychology, about positive and negative punishment, and how harsh punishment doesn't correct behavior; it makes behavior worse. This is like one fundamental finding of psychology, which, of course, you cannot accept from an Islamic point of view, because from an Islamic point of view, you have to accept that you should physically punish children, and you should also physically punish grown adults. Feder Fencer made a super chat and said, I respect your intentions despite the shit show, AP. Thank you. I appreciate it. Alexander Dahl, I read your super chat. It said, La ilaha illallah, Peygamber Ridvan. Ribs Exposed said, are you writing a book? I'm going to make a video about that soon, about my plans and about how my plans are a giant mess, because I'll get to that. But yeah, I'm working on writing a book. I'm working on writing 2 books, actually, which is probably a bad idea. Maybe I should just focus on one of them first. Suvodip Sarkar made a super chat and said, love you, AP. I thank you so much. I appreciate that. Sojkovic made a super chat and said, your patience is almost Spock level. I could not stand it. My brain just shut down. Greetings and have a good time. Thank you very much. I do believe I could be more patient, but I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Daniel Apologetics made a super chat and said, "Big love from Slovakia. Keep up the good work. Would be great to see you post smaller exposing clips from that talk." I will definitely do that, Daniel. I will definitely do that. Just look out for it. It should be. I should start with that today or tomorrow, possibly. But I will definitely come to that. All right. Now that I'm through that, let's get to some more interaction. I want to be here for another 10 minutes before I leave. Ex Nihilo said, "Apostate Prophet, when will you make your debate video against David Wood?" We just talked recently with David. I said, "Hey, we wanted to have a debate. What happened to this? Let's do it." And he kind of he was also worried that we're never going to do it, but he's kind of preoccupied with posting content and refuting Muslims and having all these big conversations. But we agreed that we should probably start around the 1st of July or so, quite soon, in which and then we will probably go into debating morality, my moral perspective versus his moral perspective. So that is something that we will hopefully start very soon. We are also thinking maybe we should just turn it into a live debate. We don't know yet about that, but it will definitely happen at some point. So David Wood and I will have that debate. And of course, everybody knows that I will completely destroy David Wood. This is what I would say if I was a Muslim. Apostate Prophet said, "A Muslim once cited an 1899 encyclopedia in an argument." I would believe that. I would need proof for that, but I would believe it. Gedalia said, "It went on for 4 hours. It was draining." İlker Gencoğlu said in Turkish, "Rıdvan abi harikasın, Türkçe videoları da arttır." Said, "Rıdvan, you were great. Please make more Turkish videos." I want to. I really want to. I want to save the world. I want to make so much English content. I want to make so many Turkish things. I want to write a book. I want to write a story. I want to make a documentary. I want to make a series. I want to do everything. I want to do everything out there in the world just to help people realize and recognize the issue that we are dealing with. The thing is, I'm so filled with ideas, with so much more than I could possibly do in a lifetime, that I I don't know when I get all that stuff done. Mrs. Idemir, my wife, said, "What a cop-out to claim the basis of morality on an authority figure." Absolutely. My wife has changed her username, by the way. It's great to see you here. Thank you so much. Arshdeep Singh said, "I see too many believers of other religions here to be comfortable." I sometimes think about and talk about the diversity of my audience and how I conduct myself and the things that I talk about and not talk about. The issue is there are two things that I could do as an atheist. I am an atheist. Everybody should be aware of this. I don't believe in God. I will never believe in God, most likely, unless I'm somehow convinced. You never know. But as far as it goes right now, as the proof stands and the issue stands, there is no way for me to again believe in gods or in a God. So I am an atheist. I am very much convinced. In fact, I would say I am much more convinced of my position than many other atheists who claim to be very firm. But there are now two things that I could do as an atheist and who speaks out against Islam. I could either go out here and talk against every religious idea and every religious ideology and every religious believer, and could attempt to insult and discredit and disparage everybody and everything. And I would be standing there with basically nobody that is listening to me, because that's usually how it goes. Or I could go out there and could talk about one specific thing that I actually think needs to be talked about, and then have so many people from so many different backgrounds actually come together and listen and have exchanges with me and benefit from what is being said here. Those are the two things that I could choose. Of course, that is not the only reason. I'm not talking against other religious beliefs and ideas. One reason is also that I personally, as an atheist, am not an anti-theist. I don't hate religious beliefs. I don't hate religions. I don't hate religious people. In fact, I don't hate the idea that Muslims believe in Allah. Not at all. I don't have a problem at all with the idea that Muslims believe in a religion, or that Muslims believe in a God, that Muslims believe in Allah. That is, I don't have a problem with that at all. I wouldn't be sitting here and criticizing that if that was the only problem. I would be. I mean, I respect that some other people want to do that. That some other people want to talk against things that they hold to be untrue and superstitious. But that's not how I think. I think it would be a waste of time for me to talk against religion and to bash religion and to bash religious belief. I consider religion very essential and a fundamental part of our human history that was necessary, which is why I think that that ideas and statements such as, oh, if religion never existed, if we never had religion, if it all happened because of religion, are wrong and are unthought and are unsophisticated, because they are based on an unrealistic idea, such as that humanity could have somehow come this far without getting into religion. I think religion was inevitable. People inevitably developed and believed in religions, no matter whether I believe they are true or wrong. I think religions are philosophy, and people needed philosophy. People needed explanations because they didn't have answers to the simple questions that they were asking themselves, which is why they explained things with religions. And whether you are for religions or against religions, you have to agree that this is a fact. And so it would be strange of me to reject religious people based on the single fact that those people believe in certain religions, and that I go out there and bash every religion just because I think they are untrue, when it is only the last half century that atheism, or that the rejection of religion, has become a prominent or an interesting thing in our world. So therefore, I am not against religion, and I completely appreciate the fact that we can all sit here from all different kinds of beliefs and philosophies and ideas, and have conversations about things. I would even love to host Muslims here. I would love Muslims to be here and to join this conversation. Would you then say, I feel uncomfortable here because there are Muslims in the comment section? I know, I would love to have Muslims here too, if Muslims were culturally and religiously able to have these conversations. Unfortunately, they're not, because Islam is the only idea out there that is so fundamentally hateful, so fundamentally judgmental and hostile against people, against other ideas, against humans, that it is impossible for the average believer to have a normal conversation with you. Yeah. I can talk about that forever. But in fact, I want to talk soon about why I don't hate religion as an atheist. Okay, I'll take a few more super chats here. Saint Michael became a member. Thank you so much, Saint Michael, and welcome to the Prophet Club. You can become a member of the channel down in the join button. Oh, by the way, all the Patreon supporters, everyone who is on Patreon, I will have a chat tomorrow per Zoom. A Zoom meeting, a Zoom hangout with everyone who is on Patreon, who supports me on Patreon. I shared the link to that on Patreon. I will again announce that later on Patreon and on here. So everyone who wants to join, who wants to have a conversation with me face to face, with camera and microphone, is invited to join me there. I would appreciate that very much. Miles Asipa made a super chat and said, that guy is insane. I knew debating him was a bad idea. I should have known too. Thank you. Miles Asipa again made a super chat and said, by the way, black gay atheist from UK here. Love your vids. Thank you so much, Miles. I appreciate that. Much respect to you. Alexander Dahl said in the super chat, will you make more Turkish videos? I hope you'll be able to add English subtitles. Again, La ilaha illallah, Peygamber Ridwan. Stay away from Allah and Islam. Thank you. I want to make more Turkish videos. The thing is, I really need to find the time and the energy for that. I would love it if someone could help me out, and if I could just pay a sum per video to somebody who wants to produce those Turkish videos, because I feel like they consume so much of my time, more so than my English videos for some reason. If I had someone who could consistently help me produce and edit my Turkish videos, I would love to just record it, send it to that person, and let them publish it. And I would love to have such a system. Unfortunately, I'm doing everything by myself, which is a bad idea because I'm not very organized as an individual. Um, Miles Asipa again made a super chat and said, Daniel is entrenching, debating him seemed pointless. Daniel is entrenched, debating him seemed pointless. It truly is pointless. I feel like this is kind of where I think maybe I should give up on the idea of having conversations with these people, which was my original idea. For some reason, I move away from that and always have hope that I could somehow have conversations with some of them or with one of them, and it always fails. Remember the debate that I had with Nader Ahmed, for example, about the scientific mistakes of the Quran, which happened about a year or half a year ago or so. It was crazy. And another super chat was made by Ian Randall without any message added, but thank you so much, Ian Randall. I appreciate it. Virgin of Tarshish said, I do translate AP's videos into Swedish. Thank you so much if you're doing that, by the way. I wish I had more contact with the people who actually help me do that stuff. I'm sorry for making a noise and moving my microphone. I will leave in a second. I don't want this to be too long because people always complain that the live stream gets too long and that people would like to have something shorter to watch. What a complaint. But World Changer said, Apostate Prophet, can you say something in Turkish? 1 minute. İstiyorsan Türkçe konuşabilirim. Hatta istiyorsan birkaç saat sonra Ateizm Derneği'nde canlı yayında olacağım. Görüşmek üzere orada. For all Turkish viewers and for everyone else who likes to listen to Turkish for some very weird reason, I will be live later today in 2 or 3 hours on the channel of the Turkish Association of Atheism, which is the only legal atheist organization in the Middle East, and I will be hosted there, and we'll talk about my beliefs and how I justify not believing in Allah. So if anyone is interested in that, you can join me there in a few hours. Really, a lot is happening these days with me. Coronavirus Leave Islam said, will you debate Daniel again? After what happened yesterday? I don't believe so. And I don't think he ever wants to debate me anyway, because I asked him and he refused. And that wasn't a debate. Flox said, do you want to make more German videos? I'll say the same thing again. I would love to save the world, but I don't have enough time. I can barely save myself. More. Why is Isa in the Quran? Oh, that's a hugely complicated topic. I want to make a video on that soon. That's actually, I wanted to make a video called the Useless Messiah, or something like that, or how Islam corrupts Jesus, where I want to talk about where I want to talk about how Islam hijacks and corrupts Jesus and uses the figure of Jesus, for its own purposes. It really is strange. I think it puts Islam into a very embarrassing, weird position to take the whole idea of Jesus and present it in such a strange way that Islam does. But I will get into the details if I make a video about that, when I make a video about that, which will happen soon. Trinity is a joke said, lol, after exposing your lack of competence to talk about Islam yesterday in a dialogue with a Muslim, you resort to a monologue to make you feel good about after the embarrassment. Dude, haven't you listened to a single thing that's been said here? Haven't you seen this message? Look, I want to show you that again. I want to show you how your Muslim apologist treats honesty and treats words. Here, look at this. Look at this. What does it say? What does it say? It says, sure, let's stream it only to my channel during the conversation. You can reuse it afterwards. I want this to be more of an investigation and analysis of your positions rather than a discussion. You know what happened? Mr. Dear Muslim, your dear Muslim apologist violated this agreement immediately and published it on his own channel, streamed it on his own channel, although agreeing to it right here. And then he treated it like a debate, although it is very clear that this is not a discussion. Man, stop looking like this. Stop looking like this at the world. Stop seeing the world like this. Use your mind for one time. Read more than just those. You don't even read the book, I mean, that you're supposed to read. Do something else. I mean, open your mind a little bit. See what's happening here. Deborah said, long form conversation is best in my opinion. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Deborah. I appreciate your super chat and your what can I find the word? I wanted to say your input. That's the word. Okay. Thor Odinson said, AP, come to Hinduism. I will not. Nuxa said, my heart goes out to you. You are bearing a heavy load without the help of Jesus Christ. I appreciate that. I don't think I need that help, but I appreciate the sentiment. Thank you. But I appreciate your sentiments too. Fetter Fencer said, weird question, AP, but do you think the hijab is victim blaming? Maybe a big topic, but surface thoughts would be interesting. Love you and your work. Thank you so much. I appreciate the super chat and I appreciate your input. Do you think the hijab is victim blaming? I would like you to, I would be interested in what you exactly mean. Do you mean that the hijab itself as a concept, when it's imposed on people, is victim blaming? Because if you mean that, then yes, it is. The idea, the original idea of the hijab is that the wives of the Muslims are honorable women who belong to Muslim men, which means they are not available. They're not available publicly for the immoral advances of men who would like to harass them and look at them sexually, like they would look at the women of non-Muslims and prostitutes and slaves. So that is the original idea behind the hijab, and the idea is that because a Muslim woman belongs to Muslim men and is not a free woman, is not an infidel and a slave and a prostitute, which is there for the public to look at, she is supposed to be covered up. So the implication is, if you take off the hijab, then you are basically a dishonorable woman, a prostitute, and a slave, and you are to be blamed if you arouse immoral and disgusting advances by men who like to look at you and who like to, have dirty ideas about you. Seriously, that is the most basic, the most fundamental idea behind the hijab. So, if you want to look at it that way, of course, the hijab serves as a veil to blame women for the sexual perversions of barbaric men in the 7th century of Arabia. And this same mindset is still used today, which is why you will see that if an influencer, for example, online on YouTube takes off her hijab, which happened quite recently, she will get reactions from Muslims who also otherwise claim that the hijab was a choice. She will get responses from those Muslims who say things like, "Oh, you are a prostitute. You just want to live a filthy life. You just want to go after your desires. Now go out, take your clothes off too, become a prostitute," and stuff like that. That's the reactions that people get when they take off their hijabs. Because, as said, the entire concept of the hijab is to shame Muslim women, to objectify them, and to make them to separate between a prostitute, which is an uncovered woman, and an owned woman, which is a Muslim woman who is covered up and belonging to a Muslim man, not available for the perverts out there. It is really disgusting. If you want to get to the foundation of what Islamic beliefs are about, it is terrible. But yeah, that's the entire idea. It is sexual slavery, which I'm saying, but sexual slavery also exists in Islam. You can basically enslave women and then have sex with them non-consensually. And I've made a video about that just yesterday called Muhammad the Slave Master. If you didn't watch that, please go ahead and watch that too. Okay. Emir Hassa said, Ridvan, what do you think about Ahmadiyyas? I think they are very misguided in their religious theology. I think they're definitely usually more peaceful than the mainstream Islamic idea, but that might also be just because Ahmadiyas are oppressed by mainstream Muslims, which is why they have to act differently. I would say, sorry, because if you look at the history of Ahmadi apologists in scripture, you will see that they are not very that Ahmadi belief is not very different from mainstream Muslim belief. What makes them different is their belief that some practices should be changed and softened, and that the leader of them, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, who lived a while ago, a century or two ago, was the Messiah and the awaited Mahdi. So, which other Muslims consider heretical and blasphemy. So that's the entire idea behind Ahmadi Islam. It's actually not that different. It's only different in certain theological aspects. Don't be fooled by how Ahmadi Muslims present Ahmadi Islam as a peaceful form of Islam. If you look at the scripture, it is not very peaceful at all. Brain Galway said, "I think all the religions are fighting over UAP. We all want you." I don't hold myself to that great esteem. I am kind of a loner always, so I'll just be here and share my ideas. But thank you, I appreciate it. Okay, I wanna leave. Thank you everybody for joining. Thank you so much. I will hopefully see you again very soon. Hopefully, I should have a few more, some more live chats in the following weeks. Thanks everybody for joining. Thank you for your sympathy, for your comments, for the super chats, for your opinions, for your support, for everything. Thanks all those who disagree with me and all those Muslims who try to maybe listen and try to maybe, get something in, and even thanks to those who come here with hostility. Maybe they can take away something and see the difference in sentiments between this and those who want me killed for saying what I'm saying right now. But morality is not everything. Look into the religious beliefs of Islam. Look into the scripture, into the incoherent texts, into the inconsistency of the Islamic theology. I have let go of that for too long. I will come back to that quite soon. I will talk about the holes in the Islamic narrative and the Islamic scripture. I'll come to that again very soon. If you want to discuss Islam further, I don't want to say learn because I'm not a teacher. But if you want to see more about what Islam fails to offer, then please just be here, stick with me. Have a fantastic day, everybody. Thanks again so much. I'll see you again very soon, and as always, please stay away from Islam. Stay away from Islam. I don't know when the disconnection happens here, so just bear with me. I'm just going to count. 10, 9, 8, 7. I should say it's like the Quran. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. When you sing it like this, it sounds like it actually is miraculous and incredible. Anyway, enough joking. See you later.